Hello ladies and gentlemen, Tevaron here, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena gameplay. Today we're going to be looking at a build of blue-black mid-range that went 5-0 in a league on Magic Online, piloted by Venom1. This particular build is geared a bit more heavily than usual towards anti-aggro cards. In general, I've liked Grixis versions of this strategy a bit more than the straight blue-black. Grixis adds a red splash for cards like Nicol Bolas, but as we're drawing steadily closer to the release of Guilds of Ravnica and Standard Rotation, the mana has become a bit stale, and as always I am limited by the cards I have access to, which, as an aside, I hope will be less of an issue after rotation, as there's going to be a progress wipe and everyone will get back the gems they've spent. With only 5 sets in Standard as opposed to 8, that should help a bit, but I digress, sorry for rambling a bit there. Before we get into the actual deck analysis though, I'm going to once again shout out my buddy Searzist, who has also played this list and many others recently. He's about 100 subscribers away from being able to get monetization restored on his YouTube channel, and it would be awesome if we could help him to get there. Links to his channel and to his Twitch stream will be in the description. Now, on to the deck list. Let's begin with our suite of removal because there's a lot of it. Fatal Push, Cast Down and Doomfall give us answers to creatures low on the curve, non-legendaries of any size, and threats with hexproof, indestructible, or the ability to come back from the graveyard thanks to Doomfall exiling them. Doomfall also serves double duty as hand disruption. Next up, we have Vraska's Contempt, Yahenni's Expertise, and Never to Return. Contempt and Never give us more creature removal with the added bonus of being able to deal with planeswalkers. Both also allow us to deal with recursive threats via exile, and Yahenni's Expertise helps against multiple small threats. Then we have Essence Scatter and Commit to Memory as preventative measures, though Commit can also answer non-land threats that hit play. And the last of our non-threat cards is a card draw engine in Argyl's Bloodfast. We have a pretty streamlined package of threats in the deck, beginning with more card draw / filtering in Glintsleeve Siphoner and Champion of Wits, with Champion of Wits actually netting us cards if it's eternalized. Then we have our heavy hitters, the Scarab God, Torrential Gearhulk, and Liliana Death's Majesty, allowing us to rebuy cards from our graveyard and hopefully giving us inevitability. Also, being able to pump out a 2/2 zombie turn after turn is pretty good versus a lot of opposing strategies. One good thing about playing 2 colors instead of 3 is the extra flexibility that it gives us in our mana base, making it far easier to play colorless utility lands like Aether Hub and Field of Ruin. Now, Hub can be used for colored mana, of course, but the big reason that it's in the deck is to make it easier for us to draw cards with Glintsleeve Siphoner. Field of Ruin, of course, lets us answer problematic opposing lands, or, in a pinch, fix our own mana if we're lacking a color. Speaking of fixing, we're running sets of Fetid Pools and Drowned Catacomb, and our lands are rounded out with 5 Island and 6 Swamp. Moving on to our sideboard, we have even more anti-aggro cards in Fungal Infection, Infernal Reckoning, and Essence Extraction. Reckoning is a card that is specifically intended to combat red-black aggro with their myriad of artifact threats, though it can also come in against any decks that are running several vehicles. In our flex slot, we have more Doomfalls, which is good in most matchups, but the cards we take out to bring it in will vary depending on what we're facing. Against control decks, we have Duress and Negate, with Jace's Defeat being for blue decks specifically, and also quite good against other mid-range decks running blue cards, specifically the Mirror. And finally, we have Vizier of Many Faces, mostly versus the Mirror, and we do count Grixis versions of this deck as a Mirror match. We will also occasionally bring it in if we just need to fill out slots in our main deck when there's just too many cards that we want to take out. And that, my friends, is the deck list. Now on to the gameplay. This is an iffy hand. We don't have black mana for these, but if we hit a 3rd mana of any kind, we can Champion of Wit, so I think we're going to try it. It looks like we're up against red of some sort, though no 1-drop. So maybe it's not aggro, but when I see... yeah, it is. Never mind. I was going to say, when I see a mountain on turn 1, I generally think of red aggro. Sadly, Cast Down cannot hit Kari Zev. But if they play a non-legendary, which they're not, never mind. We are going to cast down this thing so that they have to sacrifice one of these to Doomfall. Just try to stem the bleeding as much as we can. We could also Champion of Wits this turn, but we're hitting our land drops, and I think I just want to prevent as much damage as possible at the moment. So let's have them exile a creature. Alright, choosing Pia. Hopefully that doesn't mean they've got another one in hand to cast. Taking another 3. If we can resolve Scarab God and have it stick, we might be in okay shape. Okay, that's a start. Them not playing anything else. I think I just want to hold up Essence Scatter here, so we'll pass the turn. Next turn we can Champion of Wits, hoping to hit a land if we don't draw one. Going to 11. I would like them to not Hazaret at this point. Chandra. Well, we can't Essence Scatter Chandra, unfortunately.
When people start screaming, I know I'm on track. Oh, this is gonna hurt.
Yep. What'd you exile? Just a land. Alright, Champion of Wits. Please give us an untapped mana source. That is not what that is. Let's discard Bloodfast. And this cast down is not being very good at the moment, so we'll get rid of it. Play our Fetid Pools. Again, if we can hit an untapped land, we can start chaining off Gearhulks, which is what I hope happens. Otherwise, we're pretty dead here. Alright, exiling.
My lucky day.
Braid, sure. And we're dead. Good game, opponent. Alright, against these decks, we generally want to bring in Essence Extraction. We like Doomfall also, and Fungal Infection. Infernal Reckoning's good if they're running some colorless things, which Red-Black generally does. Scrap Heap Scrounger, Heart of Kirin, Bomat Courier, so that's worth bringing in as well. What we want to cut for sure is Glintsley Siphoner, since they're almost certainly running Goblin Chain Whirler, and that just mows those down. We don't mind cutting one Champion of Wits either, and probably in Argyl's Bloodfast, there are situations where flipping one can save us, allowing us to sack creatures to gain life, and if we get ahead, the card draw is decent, so let's cut one of those. And I think that's going to be okay. Alright, this hand is slow. I think if we keep this, we're just going to die, so let's pitch it back. What we really want is several low-cost interactions, and that will do. Essence Scatter 2, yes please. So let's lead off with our Swamp so that we can Fatal Push a hasty threat. They don't seem to have one. We'll go with Drowned Catacomb, and now Essence Scatter's online. Alright, nothing that turn either. We'll just keep biding our time then. The longer it takes them to try to get something going, the better for us. Chain Whirler. I think Chain Whirler's fine. Don't really want to Essence Scatter it. Would rather get a Hazaret or a Glorybringer, something like that. We'll play our island, and we're just going to pass. We could have Championed Wits or never there, but I still want to hold up Essence Scatter. We can take a few hits from Chain Whirler and be fine. Alright, down to 16. Not too bad at the 4th turn of the game. Alright, they are going very slowly here, so What we are going to do is we're now going to never this. Do that. Still able to hold up Essence Scatter now. That also fuels return if we can hit another land. Of course, another land also brings Torrential Gearhulk online, though we don't really have anything to flash back with it. They are stuck, it seems. Looks like they discarded Cut, so we need to be aware they have a Ribbons in their yard. Let's go for Champion of Wits here. We're digging for lands. Looks like they may be killing it. I mean, that's fine. We still get to draw. Alright, Doomfall. That could be quite good for us. So at this point, I think we're going to discard Fatal Push and Bloodfast, actually. Lets us make our land drop. We could Doomfall them, but again, that would let our Essence Scatter shields down, which I don't want to do. Alright, stuck on 3 lands and not really making much headway. So the only thing we can flash back with Gearhulk is Fatal Push. So I think we're better off just making a zombie here. Make sure we tap our colorless sources. We'll use Return. And we're going to take Ribbons. That way we don't have to worry about it anymore, and we'll pass back. Alright, killing our zombie. Using up their Abrades, they're not going to have good answers for Torrential Gearhulk, which they could have Unlicensed Disintegration too. Infernal Reckoning could be okay. We can Eternalize Champion of Wits. I think we are better off, though, just keeping on playing conservatively, and we're going to look at what they're holding in their hand. A lot of stuff. So they do have a Disintegration. We need to remember that. Chandra we can't really answer at the moment, so let's get rid of that. We've got Essence Scatter and potentially Removal and flashing back with Gearhulk, so let's do that. And again, let's see, we've got 8. We need 1 more mana before I feel comfortable eternalizing our Champion of Wits here. Bowmat Courier, that is fine. We're going to let that thing attack. Then we're going to use Infernal Reckoning on it. That way we get the marginal advantage of them having to exile a card. And there we go. Good deal. Let's make sure and leave up mana for Essence Scatter. See, what are we going to use? I'm just going to tap it all myself, just to make sure the game doesn't screw me over. And this is probably going to get Unlicensed Disintegration if they don't draw a 4th mana source to start trying to resolve these bigger threats. But that's fine. Alright, more lands. I don't actually think we need more lands, so let's pitch those. Now we got a little bit more gas past the turn. Oh wait, did I miscount? I forgot to tap a second blue source. So I screwed myself over, and it had nothing to do with the game. Still, they didn't hit a 4th land, so I didn't get punished for my horrible mistake. Maybe I should just let the game tap them, since I seem to do a horrible job at it myself. Get rid of that, gain some life, go attacking. And I think we're in good shape here. We're going to hold up. Well, we could hold up Torrential Gearhulk, but actually, let's go ahead and Doomfall. And that allows us to hold up Essence Scatter. Get something out of their hand. Let's go ahead and get Unlicensed Disintegration so that we can keep the pressure on. Heart of Kirin. Yep, can't really stop it. They can't really crew it either, though. Go back to our turn. There's a Champion of Wits. Let's do that. Yes, please. Fatal Push. We'll discard the Field of Ruin and the Cast Down. And get in there. Feeling like we've got this now, which it involved our opponent getting stuck on 3 lands basically forever, and when they hit their 4th, it came into play tapped. So, 9, 10, 11. We're 1 short of killing them if we flash in our Gear Hulk, so we're just not going to do that. Fungal Infection is fine. Gear Hulk doesn't even take a turn off the clock, so it's better just as utility in our hand. A Braid on that. That is fine. Alright, we'll pass the turn. Now we can make Gear Hulk lethal. It will be 9 damage. Phoenix. So, yeah, we have to Essence Scatter this. Nothing in the graveyard that Gear Hulk gets for us that's worth doing there, so let's just flash it in for basically no value except for ambush. And we got there. Alright, I think this is at least close to being a correct sideboard, so let's resubmit. We are getting horrible opening 7s here. Yeah, I don't think we can keep this. Let's ship it back. That's even worse. Alright, so we're gonna lose this game. Sure. There's lands there. And okay. We got a removal spell. It's not going to be enough. We're just going to get run over here. Well, Fetid Pools. Unless the opponent gets stuck on mana and has no early aggro, this is not going to be very pretty. Yep, there's a Pia. Infernal Reckoning. Think we should probably never her. Though this could also get a Chandra if they untap and do that. Let's just pass. And we'll decide what to do based on what they play. Right, going to combat. Alright, we're going to take this. Because I would not like to be unable to answer a Chandra. There we go. If we don't draw a second black, if we use one of these for Essence Extraction, then
hey, over here.
It's not very good for us.
Yup, you're going down.
We'll pass the turn. We'll come over to our turn and, yeah, go ahead and get rid of Chandra. We're trying to put up a fight. I still don't like our chances, though. Duress, sure. Probably taking Essence Extraction here. And a Chain Whirler, sure. So what we would like is to draw mana, preferably an untapped black source, so that and then Champion of Wits into a Fatal Push. Well, we didn't get either of those on our draw. Let's see how we do with the Champion. We did both. Alright, let's discard a Reckoning and a Commit. We'll play out our swamp and pass the turn. Right, they are making their land drops this game. That is for certain. That's real bad. However, if they exert it, at least we can Fatal Push the Chain Whirler. So we're going to be taking 7. Let that resolve so that we get Revolt. and push that goblin off a cliff. Unfortunately, Infernal Reckoning's not going to gain us any life since they keep having a mana available to sack this to Pia. Bloodfast. So, let's play that. There is a world where if we survive this turn, we can flip Bloodfast and get back in this game. It's not real likely. At least Infernal Reckoning does keep them from killing us with this. Alright, so that's exactly lethal. Yep. So they can sack this, and then pump this, and we're just dead. There's nothing we can do. Good game, my friend. What is it with you only giving me one land hands deck? I don't understand. Having a really bad run of RNG here. That's a bit better, as long as we're up against a creature deck, it is anyway. Let's not draw a second Gear Hulk at this point. If we're up against a control deck, it's less good. And there's an island, so maybe not the best hand. Well, at least we get our Siphoner online. Cycling Compelling Argument. Okay, are you a cycling deck or are you a mill deck? Maybe a combination of both? Well, can't draw with Siphoner this turn, unfortunately. Yep. I suspect Cast Down is not going to be very useful here, though I could be wrong. This is probably a match where we want to take out most, if not all, of our creature removal. We'll know more if we get to see more of their deck, of course. Yeah, I can't really stop that. So they seem to be a mill deck. And the term mill comes from the card Millstone, which was the original card that allowed you to put cards from your opponent's library into their graveyard. Yep, definitely a mill deck, so... Well, we're just not having very good luck today, as far as all things are concerned. Opponent's not having trouble hitting their land drops. That Fraying Sanity will probably kill us very quickly. Need to pay attention to what goes into their graveyard. We've not seen any creatures from them yet. Yes, please. Another card that's probably pretty useless here. Well, we finally hit a land, so that at least is good. Let's go ahead and attack. Alright, getting in there. So I'm not going to hold up Essence Scatter here because I'm just not sure there's anything in their deck to scatter. Let's get Bloodfast down if we can. Yep, Cycling Sensor. Fraying Sanity's not hit us yet, so that's good. Oh, there's a second one. Do you have another one of those bounce mill things? Winds of Rebuke? Which it costs 3, right? Or no, it's 2. Never mind. Yep. That seems bad. Dump the top of our deck into our graveyard here. There's a Champion of Wits. At least we are hitting our land drops at this point, so I guess that's something positive. And pass it back. We're down to 38 cards. Nothing going into our graveyard, good deal. Okay. Can't stop it. Think we're going to be in much better shape versus this deck once we bring in our counter spells that work versus non-creature things. Jace's Defeat's going to be just a house versus this deck, since it's mono blue. Alright, let's go ahead and activate Bloodfast. Commit to Memory could be good. Keep us from decking ourselves as long as they don't have a counterspell for it. Yes, please. Doomfall. Alright, draw for our turn. Another champion. Let's attack first. Alright, I think we want to cast Doomfall. See what they've got in their hand here. Essence Scatter, Compelling Argument. I think we want to get rid of the Compelling Argument. Go bye-bye, please. That would have milled 15 cards. That sounds real bad to me. That's pretty much half of our deck. Yep, we did have a card go to the graveyard since we cast Doomfall. And it's looking like they are indeed creatureless, so all of our creature removal, or as much as we can bring out, is going to come out. We may not have enough cards to bring in to do that. Chart a Course, you got it. So now we get comboed by these things. Psychic Corrosion, going to mill us for 4. And then we're going to get milled for another 8, so 12 cards going to the graveyard this turn. I think we are going to be leaning on this commit. We need to probably leave lands up for that. Down to 26. That's a lot of cards. Sadly, we don't yet have a 6th mana to actually cast the memory part of this. So it may just not be enough. Yep, go to combat. Didn't realize I was sitting there letting the timer go. Trying to look at everything going on the board. Now, how much do we have left? 12. And we're dead. Never mind. Good game. Alrighty, so we want to bring in all of our anti-control things. Jace's Defeats, Negates, Duresses, Doomfalls. Perhaps even Vizier is better than some creature removal. So let's bring that in. Take out our Fatal Pushes. Definitely Essence Scatters. We will take out Cast Downs. They probably don't have any Planeswalkers either, so Never to Return. And 2 Vraska's Contempts. Actually, we may want the Never to Return in place of a Vraska's Contempt just in case. Yahenni's Expertise is horrible too. We just don't have enough stuff to bring in. I suppose that Vraska's Contempt in a vacuum is better than Yahenni's Expertise, just in case there is a creature or planeswalker in their deck that we just didn't happen to see, or they could be bringing one in from the sideboard. Alright, let's try this. Well, we finally got a 7-card hand that is not 1 land. It's not a very good 7-card hand, but I think we're going to keep it since the game was so kind as to offer it to us. Alright, we'll lead off with our island. Actually, might ought to have let off with the Drowned Catacomb. That way, if we top decked a Siphoner, we could play Ether Hub and immediately draw a card next turn, but that wasn't the case, so not punished there. Pretty much useless card in our hand. There's a Jace's Defeat, good deal. I think we're going to want to try to hold up a counterspell for one of their enchantments at this point. So let's pass the turn. Just not let our shields down to play Champion of Wits. Alright, looks like they're not trying to resolve anything. Good deal. We'll play out a swamp and continue to just pass. Next turn we'll be able to land Champion of Wits and still hold up Jace's Defeat. That is if we don't cast it this turn. Alright, looks like they're not doing anything. Let's play our Champion of Wits before we play a land. Looks like they let it resolve. Maybe they're going to bounce it. Yep, that's fine. Yes, please. Alright, we don't need a second Ether Hub, and I think we can also safely get rid of a swamp. Play out our Catacomb, and we're going to pass, holding up Jace's Defeat. Next turn we can cast Duress. Let's try to say no. They could have a counter to stop our Jace's Defeat. Alright, they do. And it's the worst counter spell to get countered with. Censor. There's a memory in our graveyard. Let's go ahead and start with a Duress here. Compelling Argument. Unsummon, search for Azcanta. I think Patient Rebuilding is the worst of these for us, so let's take that. Then we'll go ahead and play out our Champion of Wits. Hopefully we'll hit a 2-mana counterspell here. Unfortunately, we didn't. Let's discard Fetid Pools and Never to Return. We'll play out our Swamp. Yep. We're down to 40 cards already. There's their search. We do have a Field of Ruin to deal with that if it flips, though. They could unsummon our champion. They've got Compelling Argument, though they probably want to hold that until they can get more value out of it. If they can resolve another Fraying Sanity or something. Nope, they're just going to use it. So, losing a bunch of cards here. We're down to 30. 29 after the draw. See, we could already memory if we wanted to. I don't think we do. Liliana's not great at this point. We could bring something back with her. Let's attack. See if they want to unsummon our Champion of Wits. They don't. I think we're just going to try to flood the board here. Let's play out Scarab God. And that's probably what's going to get unsummoned, but we're also going to play out Glint-Sleeve Siphoner. Yep. Back to our hand. See, they're at 5. They can't quite flip Search for Azcanta this turn. Alright, chose not to mill anything. Second Fraying Sanity. Yep, that's pretty bad. If they manage to get anything that can put things into our graveyard, yep, let's draw a card. It does draw us closer to running out of cards in our deck, but I think it's worth doing. So we want to leave Field of Ruin up this turn, so let's tap. Let's see. That's 3, 4. Oh, we can't actually leave Field of Ruin up and play out Scarab God, can we? Alrighty. Well, they can't flip this anyway, so let's go ahead and play out Scarab God. Then we'll go attacking. And we want to leave a stop on our upkeep in case Scarab God's still there when we come to that time so that we can activate it. Alrighty. Well, looks like Scarab God's never going to stick around, but we'll keep on trying. We're down to 19 cards. Draw. And they can flip search this turn. But we can also hold up Field of Ruin this turn, so let's do that. Make sure it doesn't tap Field of Ruin on us. And go attacking. It's a pretty rough matchup for us here. Also, using Field of Ruin, unfortunately, is going to trigger the Fraying Sanities. Well, they do flip Azcanta. So do we want to Field of Ruin it now? I think we do. That will force them to use their mana if they want to activate it. Oh, did I unselect it? There we go. So they chose not to. If we don't get milled by something here, I think we're going to win. And we got this game. Awesome. Alright, let's activate Scarab God. We'll bring back... I don't think it matters. Torrential Gearhulk, sure. And... we will not target anything. Well, we'll target that, and then choose not to do it. That will drain them for 1. That's fine. Then we've got 9 attacking. Good game. We could also have used Gearhulk to flash back memory there, but that would have given them 7 cards in their hand, and I did not want to risk them getting something that would keep us from killing them that turn. But I think we're just going to resubmit. Alright, this is a good hand. We'll keep it. Second turn, Siphoner. Get to start drawing cards. Oh, well. First turn, Duress seems good too. Duress into Siphoner into Hold Up Negate seems alright. Chart a Course, Compelling Argument. I think we do not want them to have the Winds of Rebuke. That will just slow down our clock. Cycling the Compelling Argument. Yep, there's the Chart a Course we knew about. Now all we know about is the 2 islands in their hand. Well, 1 island at this point. Siphoner. And just depending, we may just jam the other Siphoner next turn. If we draw a 3rd land, we might want to Doomfall instead. Oh, they drew an Unsummon, so at least it doesn't mill us. Does slow us down a bit. I think we're going to Champion of Wits here. We do want to hit some more land drops if possible. Looks like they may have a counterspell for it though. They have a Censor. Alright. Chart a Course. At least there's no Fraying Sanity on the board yet. Scarab God. Let's go for Siphoner. And hopefully it sticks around to draw us a card. We need to make some more land drops if possible. Patient Rebuilding. Okay. Yes, please. And we'll attack. So this does this on their turn. So again, I think we're just going to go as aggressive as possible, get our other Siphoner down. So it looks like we didn't hit any lands there, so they didn't get to draw any extra cards, which is good. Second patient rebuilding. Okay, that could get us really quickly. Of course, we've got a decent clock on board now. Yes, please. Contempt. Pretty useless. They thinking about unsummoning a siphoner again? Right. If they were thinking about it, they chose not to. Get in there for 4. And at this point, I think we're going to be holding up Negate and Jace's defeat. Do we care about the unsummon? I don't think we do. And we're just going to pass the turn. We'll discard Contempt and Champion of Wits. If we don't draw some lands soon, though, it's not really going to matter. Yep, that's a lot of card draw. We're down to 36 cards. Divination. Sure. Alright, we will definitely be drawing a card, and we still can't hit a land. There we go. Good deal. Let's go to combat. And I want to hold up 2 counterspells, I think, so pass the turn. That could be incorrect, since we're not getting a very good clock out. We'll discard Vizier. Yep. Those patient rebuildings are doing a good job of clocking us. Search for Azcanta. Let's say no to that. Let's try to say no to Fraying Sanity. Good deal. Looks like they don't have any counterspells in hand. And not a second Fraying Sanity, so that's good. Now we're hitting our land drops. It may just be a bit too late, though, unfortunately. Let's go for a Doomfall, see what they've got going on in their hand here. Essence Scatter, Divination. We'll take the Essence Scatter. And then we'll resolve our other Siphoner. And get in there. Feels like their clock may just be faster than ours now, though. Especially if they keep hitting lands out of our deck and drawing a billion cards every turn. Yep, there's one of the divinations we knew about. They're down to 25. We don't really have the option of milling them out, though, unfortunately. Yep. So hopefully our commit to memory is not on the bottom and we can also hit a 6th land. Well, I guess it doesn't matter, since they can get rid of it. Yeah, I feel like we have lost this game. We need to hit a 6th land, though, so yeah, we'll draw. And there's our land, good deal. 19. They have used a lot of their card draw, so maybe Psychic Corrosion is not going to be absolutely lethal for us. And if we can resolve this Gear Hulk and they don't have a way to kill us or mitigate damage, we can actually win. They've got so many cards in hand, though. I kind of doubt that that's going to be what happens here. Yep. So 3 lands that time. Yeah, that's a hell of a combo, isn't it? There's Memory, but they've got a Sentinel Totem. And this may just kill us outright here. We're down to 5. Basically, if they have anything here, we are going to get milled. We can counter one thing with a Gear Hulk, maybe. Or if they go for Sentinel Totem, we can Gear Hulk and Memory in response. Chart a course. Yep. So we don't die when our library goes empty. It's when we have to draw a card. So we'll wait until the last possible moment. If they're smart, they won't do what they just did. But it may not matter. They may just have a counterspell in hand. We have to try for this, though. And they've got the scatter. Good game, my friend. Well, that was certainly a disheartening first two matches, but we will persevere. Jump back in here and try this again. Alright, if we're up against a creature-based deck, this hand is good. We'll keep it. Looks like we're not, though. Mono blue artifacts. Probably with Zalfram Void. Navigator's Compass, that is a card that is played in those sometimes. Well, we're just getting real unlucky with our matchups here. Though, I mean, red-black is something that we're decent against, but our hands in that first match were really, really bad. Ether Hubs, sure. That's good with our Siphoner. Treasure map. This is a bit of a strange build of this. Oh, I had not noticed they played a swamp, so maybe they are not mono blue artifacts. Well, with the swamp, they definitely are. Maybe they're a Tezzeret deck, the one from Kaladesh. Go ahead and draw. Not certain exactly what they're trying to do now. We'll play our swamp out and attack. They could just be an improvised deck also. Even though it lets our shields down a bit, I'm not convinced they have creatures in that deck. Let's go ahead and Doomfall. Try to see what they've got in their hand. Okay, so they do have creatures. Well, we'll take one of these Chief of the Foundries. They'll get to resolve the other one. But we have Vraska's Contempt for that. Phylactery Lich we can deal with. Yep, there's the Chief. We don't care too much about that, since our Siphoner is Menace. We just get to keep on attacking. Draw our card for the turn. Another Essence Scatter, that's perfectly fine. We would like to find a permanent blue source, though. Let's get in there. And we'll hold up Essence Scatter. If they don't play something we need to scatter, we'll probably just Contempt that Chief of the Foundry. They are one activation from flipping the treasure map. Crane is fine. We can push it if we need to. Got a Power Stone Shard, that's fine as well. Going ahead and flipping treasure map. So they could go for Lich here if they want to sacrifice two of those treasures. They can make their island a swamp with this if they want to. Looks like they're going to not attack. That is fine. Let's try to Contempt that Chief. They were planning on blocking the Siphoner, but we're going to put the kibosh on that. Yes, please. Bloodfast is fine. So is Expertise, though I really would like to have an island. Or any blue source, which I guess we can get with Field of Ruin. Get in there for 2. Then we're going to blow up their Treasure Cove. So they don't get to draw cards with these treasures. Also get ourselves a permanent blue source, which is what we really, really want. And we'll pass the turn. We could have also played Bloodfast, but I think I'd rather hold up Essence Scatter now. Yep, looks like they're going for the Lich. We'll go ahead and say no to that. Alright, Psy. Well, that is fine. We can kill it, and I don't think they're going to get an activation out of it this turn, so that's fine. Looks like they are once again trying to block our Siphoner. We're going to go ahead and Fatal Push this Crane. Then we will Contempt the Master Thopterus before they get any Thopter triggers from it. Draw for our turn. Another Siphoner's good. Let's go to combat. We'll get in there, take them down to 15. We've got enough energy to draw a card. We got enough energy to draw a card next turn. Let's tap you. And yeah, I think we have to do this. It's going to be a bit unfortunate if they have another Lich to play out because it's indestructible. But I really don't want them to make a billion Thopters with Psy or draw extra cards. Well, there's a Shard, so no Lich is coming down. Crane is fine too. Though maybe they should have played the Crane before they played the Shard. Just in case they drew an artifact that they would rather cast than the Shard. But it worked out for them, so that's fine. Alright, let's draw. There we go. Hitting our land drops now. See. We could never... I don't think that Crane bothers me, though. We'll get in there for 2. Oh, I accidentally clicked again. I wanted to cast Bloodfast there. Helm of the Host. Well, we care about that. So we're probably going to have to Yahini's Expertise this next turn. And then not let them resolve any more creatures like ever. Yep, treasure map, that's fine. Okay, so let's Expertise. And I would like to cast Siphoner off of that. And we'll pass the turn holding up Essence Scatter. Well, nothing to scatter, so looks like they want what's on top, though. Yes, please. Okay, so now we can Scarab God and still hold up Essence Scatter. So let's do that. Play out old Scarab God. Go to combat. And get to draw another card next turn. Hopefully what they have on top is not something that just kills us. Something we could answer with Essence Scatter would be preferable. They got a Field of Ruin. Why did they want to keep a Field of Ruin on top? Why do they care about our Ether Hubs? I don't really understand. I feel like they should have gotten rid of that Field of Ruin, trying to draw something better. Right, do we have anything in our graveyard? We do. So, oh, I forgot to set a stop. Never mind. We'll just hold off on the Scarab God then. Right, we'll play out our own Field of Ruin and go attacking. We've got a 2-turn clock here, and it should be enough. Right, take them down to 7. We could Champion of Wits. We probably should. Just look for, you know, things. Right, we'll discard that and a Never. And I think we have got this. Make sure and set a stop on our upkeep. Chief of the Foundry, let's say no to that. And that should be the game. No Helm of the Host shenanigans at this point. Alright, flip their treasure map, but they can't activate it. And we got there. So I'm completely uncertain how to sideboard versus this deck. Maybe we want Infernal Reckonings. The only artifact creatures we saw were Chief of the Foundries though, right? I feel like we want some number of negates. Maybe we'll cut a Never to Return. And a Fatal Push, since we seem to have trouble getting that to work versus them, except for the Crane, and bring in our 2 negates. Sure, we'll give that a shot. Okay, I like this hand, let's keep it. We get to go Siphoner into removal / negate or Champion of Wits. Draw for our turn. Lead off with Fetid Pools. Oh wait, we're not in our main yet. Sorry about that. Lead off with Fetid Pools, of course. Alright, treasure map. And we'll play out Siphoner. We need to get our clock going as quickly as possible. Alright, they scry at awkward times with this treasure map, I must say. Let's draw. So do we hold up negate or do we Champion of Wits? I think we're going to Champion of Wits. Let's attack first though. We need to try to hit our land drops here. Okay, that's good. I think we're going to discard Expertise and Cast Down. Hold our Contempts. Lost Legacy, what are you naming? Scarab God, probably? Didn't really catch what that was. Yep, Scarab God. I think that's fine. Don't really like Lost Legacy against non-combo type decks. Ether Hub lets us draw another card next turn, so we'll go for that. Keep on attacking. Well, I mean, the other Siphoner also lets us draw a card next turn, so let's play that out. That lets us hold up negate. And we should have them dead in a couple of turns if things don't just go sideways. Well, can't negate that. Looks like they're not going to get a Thopter, though, again. Unless they want to sacrifice some treasures, I guess, to cast an artifact. Alright, looks like they're not going to. We will definitely be drawing a card. Another Expertise, that's fine. Probably not in the market to play that this game, though I guess the situation could evolve to the point that we are. Let's go to attacks. Well, I could have contempted before that. Well, we can do it right now. That's fine. Let's tap our Ether Hub. Contempt this thing, since we do want it gone. And get in there for 6. We do have our shields down now, as we don't have negate up. Really? Settle the wreckage out of that deck? Let's see. Sure. We'll get 2 swamps and an island. That certainly caught me by surprise, that's for sure. If we have to go to a game 3, we will remember they have access to settle the wreckage. They hate our Ether Hubs. I don't understand why. Do they think we have a third color that they just haven't seen yet? I guess that may be the case, but if we did, we would almost certainly have a basic land of that color, and killing our Ether Hub would give us a permanent source. Panharmonicon 2. Alright, this deck did not really seem like a Panharmonicon deck, but sure. We'll pass the turn. Yeah, can't really stop that. I guess they do get 2 Glint Nest activations. That's the only creature we saw, though, all of last game that has entered the battlefield triggers. Lotus? Okay. What are you going to do with all that mana? Well, it looks like they only hit 1 artifact off of those, so that's fine. We're not going to kill the crane. Field of Ruin, sure. Let's pass the turn. I guess maybe they Field of Ruined us just to get their planes out. That may explain why they did that. Maybe we saw white from them last game. I can't remember if they had a planes out at any point, though. Yep, you can have a Lotus. Looks like we're going to get hit for 1 here. And yep, our turn. Essence Scatter, that's a good draw. We do need another win condition, though. Sure. Okay, I guess Panharmonicon triggers this, too. I don't really care too much about that life gain, I don't think. Maybe they'll gain enough that we just can't kill them ever, but I don't foresee that happening. Go to our turn. Another Field of Ruin, okay. We may want to pop one of these on their Treasure Cove. Helm of the Host? No thank you. Lost Legacy. Alright, name... I don't know what you would name. Champion of Wits or Siphoner? You can't name Gearholt because it's an artifact. Alright, they chose Vraska's Contempt. Sure. We'll just take this. Hold Fatal Push for later. There's a Siphoner. That's something that we were wanting to see, so good deal. We could Expertise into Siphoner. I think we're just going to cast the Siphoner. Hold the Expertise as a safety valve. They do know we have it, so, I mean, that takes a bit of the usefulness away from it. And we'll pass it back. Golden Demise. Sure. That's another card that's actually not very good versus us. Let's go ahead and push this crane. Tired of getting pecked in the face. I suppose we do have 8 creatures that Golden Demise kills, but generally not a card that you want versus blue-black mid-range. I think they know our whole hand, but I'm not for certain. I think we had the Essence Scatter in it. I know we did have Yahini's Expertise when they lost Legacy to us. Yep, gain you some life. up to 26. Just pass the turn back to us. Champion of Wits is good. Let's go ahead and cast that. Gearhulk's also quite good. Let's discard Expertise and the other champion. And we're going to pass the turn. Hold up Gearhulk plus Essence Scatter. We can eternalize that champion next turn. It looks like they're not casting anything here. Do we have anything worth flashing back? We don't. I think we're going to hold the Gearhulk. Doomfall. Let's see what that card that they've been holding in their hand is. Something tells me it may be a Settle the Wreckage. Nope, Golden Demise. Well, it is gone now. Let's go ahead and eternalize champion. Yes, please. I would like to draw 4. Let's discard Field of Ruin and an Essence Scatter. We'll go attacking. And play out another Siphoner. Now we've got quite a clock on the board. Just hold up Essence Scatter as opposed to playing out Bloodfast here. Crane, let's just say no. That way you don't get your Panharmonicon trigger. I'm going to be drawing an extra card from Siphoner basically every turn forever at this point with the amount of energy we have. Fetid Pool, let's start off cycling one of those. Another Bloodfast. Well, we're going to play one of these. And go attacking. Well, we do have enough mana to be able to cycle and hold up Gearhulk, so let's do that. Probably should have done it before I played out the Bloodfast, just to see what we had coming off the top. Alright, there's our land drop. Let's end the turn. Alright, well, they can definitely sack that and look for an artifact. Looks like that's what they're going to do. Pretty sure we've got a negate in here. We do. So if it's especially annoying, we'll just Gearhulk and negate it. It is Treasure Map. I think that qualifies as especially annoying, so... go ahead and grab that. And I think that is going to be the game. Unless we get settled again. They don't have any cards in hand, so if they hold one, we can definitely play around it. Or just Doomfall it away, I suppose. Get in there for almost lethal. And now, just a matter of seeing what they draw. I don't know that they can draw anything that's going to save them here unless they're maybe also running Fumigate, but looks like they just top-decked a Field of Ruin. Which even with Fumigate we could have drawn several cards with Argyl's Bloodfast looking for a counterspell. Sure. Okay. I think opponent's just wasting time at this point. Alright, I'm aware that you had a lot of mana production. Let's get in there. Good game. So this game was a perfect example of why Lost Legacy is a card that only should come in versus decks that rely on one or two cards to win the game, such as Combo. If we'd been running a deck that needed Approach of the Second Sun to win, Lost Legacy would have been a good choice. But whereas we're just a normal mid-rangey deck, you see they Lost Legacy'd us twice, and it really didn't matter, because we still had other threats that could deal lethal damage to them. Okay, this is not a bad hand. We are on the draw. Let's keep it. Would like to get an Ether Hub so that we can draw a card right away with Glint Sleeve Siphoner. See, the opponent mulligan to 6 there. Ipnu Rivulet. That may not be the greatest thing for us. I think we're going to lead off with an island. We've got so many lands here, we're probably going to be in the market to cycle Fetid Pools. We've got Drowned Catacombs to kind of fix our mana, so should be okay. If we can land this Glint Sleeve Siphoner, that will help a lot. Alright, opponent cycling. They may be on a blue-white cycle Drakehaven style deck here. Well, let's try to resolve our Siphoner. Alright, that certainly hurts. If they are on the Drakehaven deck, that's a big issue there. So let's try to Doomfall here. Look at their hand, see what's going on. They may not be Drakehaven, but they are certainly Control. See, they're a long way away from Gearhulk. Let's take their Glimmer for now. Maybe they'll stall out on 3 mana here. Nope. Well, they've got Settle the Wreckage turned on. They can't cast Disallow yet, which is good. However, our hand's not very good versus what they're doing at this point. Let's cycle. Yep, that's also not good versus what they're doing. We don't want to Field of Ruin their Scavenger Grounds because that would let them fetch up an island and turn on their Disallow. Now, if they play out a blue source, then we can get rid of their Scavenger Grounds, which is actually pretty bad for us, considering we do use our graveyard quite a bit. Let's try to resolve a Champion of Wits. Alright, good deal. So let's pitch Fatal Push and Cast Down. No, wait, actually, Cast Down can kill a Gearhulk. Let's pitch 2 Fatal Pushes. That lets us also make our land drop. We're 1 away from having our own Torrential Gearhulk online, which Champion of Wits was so kind to draw for us. Alright, so they are now in the blue mana. There's our 6th mana for Gearhulk. Sadly, we don't have anything super useful to flash back here. Let's get in there with Champion of Wits if we can. And once they untap, they are going to have their Disallow online. We may go ahead and pop Field of Ruin to get rid of Scavenger Grounds at the end of their turn here, just depending on what goes on. Yep, let's do that. That way we don't have to be worrying about it if we top deck and resolve a Scarab God, or if we have something worth flashing back with Torrential Gearhulk. Think we want to swamp. We've got enough blue sources for now. Let's attack before we play our Champion of Wits here. Don't think they're going to want to Settle the Wreckage a champion. They don't... Well, I guess they could flash in their Gearhulk and cast Hieroglyphic Illuminations from the yard, but it doesn't look like they're up for that. At least not yet. Let's go ahead and tap that. Try to play out our Champion of Wits. This may get disallowed. It does not. Yes, please. Alrighty, let's discard Yahini's expertise. And the second Champion of Wits. We'll play our land and pass the turn. They may be planning on gear hulking on our instep here. Or still in our main phase. That's fine. They are going to get to resolve a hieroglyphic illuminations, but they're tapped out. So we are going to cast down the gear hulk while they have their shields down. And they may be forced to consider settling here on our next attack, so we may not want to attack with both Champions of Wits. Well, there's Teferi. We do have a Vraska's Contempt, but if they tick up Teferi,
if you show remorse,
then they're going to have mana available to counter that. We may want to pressure with champions, so force them to settle so that they haven't got the mana to counter our Vraska's Contempt. There's a second Contempt. I don't think that changes much. Let's attack their face. Alright, looks like they're just going to take it. Which means that we will pass the turn, and then we'll attempt Vraska's Contempt on Teferi on their instep, maybe their upkeep actually, to force them to attack, or to tap out. Alright, that helps. We'll do it now. They could still have a negate, but at least we know they can't cast the disallow we know about. Alright, Teferi's gone. Doesn't mean they couldn't have another one in hand. So this second Contempt or Gear Hulk may be playing a get rid of Teferi role. Looks like they didn't though, so that's good. Let's go to attacks. Get in there. Looks like they got another seal away. That's fine. Let's get out of combat and we'll try to resolve our other Champion of Wits. We could eternalize this champion, but they do have a disallow which can counter that activated ability. Yes, please. Alright, I think we want to discard those lands. Good deal, we'll pass the turn. Okay, so they're an approach deck. That's good to know. Not sure we have the setup main deck to beat that. If they have a second approach in hand, we're just dead. Let's go ahead and eternalize our graveyarded champion. Yes, please. Alright, we'll discard a land and a Contempt and get in there for 2. Then we'll see if they have the second approach. They do not. Another useless card in this matchup. So, unfortunately, we have to be super aggressive. They have a Settle the Wreckage, so we're not going to get there. We've probably lost this game. If they were any other type of control deck besides approach, I think we'd be in decent shape here, but as it stands, we're not. And they can also mill themselves this turn and put them 1 card off of approach with their Rivulet here. Yep, there's a Settle the Wreckage. Go ahead and get 1 of each. And pass the turn. We could have Gear Hulked there and flashed back Cast Down to kill our non-eternalized Champion of Wits. They chose not to mill themselves, so they aren't quite to it, but they can mill themselves this turn and then draw it next turn. We really don't have much hope here. Sure, go ahead and flash in Gearhulk. Don't think there's anything in my yard that they're terribly afraid of. Yep. And that is the game. If they mill themselves, I'm just going to concede. Choosing to cast out instead. Interesting. So now we've got several turns. That is, if there's not another approach there, because now if they mill themselves, they will mill the approach. Not to say that we're not probably still going to lose, but... Yep. They are certainly looking at our graveyard. What is going on? Glimmer. Okay, so never mind. They get to draw it anyway, even without milling. And as long as they show themselves... Never mind, they didn't scry to the bottom. Sure. Opponent's play here has me a bit confused. I guess maybe they're just playing around counterspells. With Approach, though, I mean, I have played my fair share of Approach in Standard several months past. You got to just be willing to jam a lot of the time. Which, as hesitantly as they're playing, they may not be willing to try to cast this Approach. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, well, there's a Disallow. Very confused. This is their win condition. That Disallow is backup for that win condition. They should have just let our Scarab God resolve. Still looking at our graveyard. What is going on, opponent? Alright, Search, you gonna mill that Approach? Nope, but you are gonna flip it. Good deal. I mean, they have to suspect that our hand is full of removal. They are super hesitant. They may fool around enough that they let us get back into this game. Which also goes right back to they should not have used this Disallow if they're that scared we have a counterspell. Scarab God resolving means literally nothing. If they can resolve Approach of the Second Sun, they just win. Sure. Alright, Gearhulk, counter our Siphoner. Let's kill their Gearhulk. Still got 6 mana up, so for all they know, I guess we have 2 Disallows in hand. We don't, obviously, but... Maybe I'm just being too hard on opponent, but it seems their play patterns are not very good. Which is not to say I make the correct play all the time. I make my fair share or even more of mistakes, for sure. Yep, you got it. Alright, well, we certainly want our anti-control package, so let's bring in all of this. We may end up bringing Vizier in too, as much as we want to cut. We need to be careful, though. A lot of times, the Approach decks do side in creatures like Regal Caracal or Lyra Dawnbringer, so we may want to leave some Essence Scatters in. Those are also good versus their Gearhulks. I think Cast Down can come out. Never to Return can target Teferi. Yahini's Expertise is horrible. So we could cut a couple of Vraska's Contempts, but they also can deal with Teferi. Maybe Never to Return is overkill on the Planeswalker Hate. Let's cut that. And I think we can afford to shave a Scarab God. So let's do that. Okay, double glint sleeve siphoner seems good as long as we can get one to stick. Which should be easier since we're on the play this time, so we'll keep this hand. Alright, they kept and kept on top. We'll start off with Fetid Pools. Yeah, Drowned Catacomb better than Island, so let's play out our Siphoner. Hopefully also they don't have a Seal Away just right off the bat here. So they don't, at least for the attack, since their Meandering River comes into play tapped. Negate's good. So our question is, do we hold up Negate or do we keep flooding the board? And I think we're going to flood the board, but we're going to go to combat first. Then we'll play out our Champion of Wits. We need to keep making our land drops. Cycling Illumination. Sure. Alright, those both are cards that I want, so let's actually pitch Gearhulk. Try to set up a reanimation with Liliana. And this is a bit rough. I think we'll pitch our other Siphoner. If we can untap with Negate here without losing any of our creatures, I think we're in good shape, and it looks like we are. Very good. Second Negate. Also very good. Let's go with our Swamp, though. Let's Duress, see what's going on. Double Settle. Teferi, Gearhulk. Well, we're going to take the Teferi. We've got Negates for the Settles. Let's see, let's get in there. They still need one more land off the top to actually get to the point that they can cast Gearhulk. Okay. Often wonder why people just Field of Ruin when it's something that's not really relevant. It's definitely not going to color screw us. Right, still hitting our lands. Let's play out our own Field of Ruin and go to attacks. No fear, we've got Negates for their Settles. Yeah, we'll say no to that. Leaving Field of Ruin up just in case they have something we want to get rid of. I'm just going to pass the turn. Nothing else we want to be doing. Alright. So they're doing a good job of not revealing cards we don't know about, if either of those are lands. Take action, yes. Jace's defeat, awesome. Kind of just what we're looking for. That can counter their Gearhulk. Just keeping the pressure on. Alright, Settle the Wreckage. Well, we are going to negate their Settle the Wreckage again. Get in there. We're also going to take this opportunity to Field of Ruin their Scavenger Ground. And we'll grab another Swamp. This is allowing us to leave Jace's defeat up. In case their plan is 6th land, Gearhulk back one of their Settle the Wreckages here. We're going to put the kibosh on that. Ixalan's Binding. Well, we can't Jace's defeat that, unfortunately. That does slow us down a bit. See, Ether Hub. Is there anything that reanimating this Gearhulk can really bring back? Nothing super relevant. So let's play out Liliana and tick her up.
I have death is ever present.
Keep the pressure on, as we say, pumping out more creatures. And they still don't seem to have a 6th land, so Gearhulk seems not to be a concern at this point. Alright, cast out. Going for Champion of Wits instead of Liliana. That's an interesting choice. There's a Gearhulk. Seeing as how this game played out, I think it was a mistake early on to discard our other Gearhulk. This one can at least hit a negate, and we still have Jace as well. Let's tick up. Get ourselves another zombie. And the opponent's going to be very hard-pressed to pull out of this. See what we've got. We've got an Essence Scatter 2, negates. Good deal. And that's the game. Alright, I think we're just going to resubmit. Yeah, 1 land hands we cannot keep. That's better for sure. Let's snap that off. Liliana. I like Liliana. Think I would like lands a bit better, but I don't think we want to toss her back. She's a really good threat in this matchup. Hopefully, we can again resolve Siphoner and or Bloodfast. Let's start out with Catacomb this time in case we top deck an Ether Hub. That way we'll have the 2 energy to draw a card with Siphoner. Yeah, second turn search is very good for the opponent. But it also opens up our getting down a Siphoner, so let's do that. Yeah, not enough energy to draw here. Fetid Pools, huh? Well, let's just go to attacks. Alright, we get in there. Let's play out our other land here and try to resolve a second Siphoner. Alright, Essence Scatter from the opponent. And they have a Seal Away as well. Hopefully we will top deck an untapped land. We did, awesome. So we're going to lead off with Duress. We'll take the Disallow. I don't care overly much about that Settle at this point, so let's resolve our Bloodfast. Try to outdraw them. In general, Bloodfast beats Search for Azcanta if we can leverage it well enough. Land into Cast Out. They respect the Bloodfast, but that lets us know the coast is clear for Liliana. So let's cast Liliana, and we are going to minus her to get back our Siphoner.
Oh, it's you. Necromancy is an art.
Then next turn we can draw a card, Doomfall, to get rid of this Settle the Wreckage. Right, they milled us Settle the Wreckage. We will. Essence Scatter in case they have a Gearhulk. That's not bad. That's also not bad. Let's start with a Doomfall. And hopefully they don't have 2 removal spells in hand. Well, they have a Disallow. We'll take the Settle for right now, though. Play out our hub. We'll plus Liliana.
Oh, this world is simply brimming with death.
And attack with Siphoner. And as long as it sticks around, we get to draw another card next turn. They are at 3 in graveyard, so they're still quite a ways from flipping their Search for Azcanta, which is great for us. Teferi. Little less great. I would like them not to draw a land here. Looks like they didn't, so they don't have access to Disallow. That is, if we draw something relevant. Negate's okay. There, that's what we were wanting. Let's go ahead and tick up with Liliana.
Oh, look what I found.
We are going to try to Contempt Teferi. Also holding up negate plus essence scatter. And putting a lot of pressure on our opponent while drawing a ton of cards and putting out hordes and hordes of zombies. Yes, please. Scarab God's not bad. Alright. Let's start with another Doomfall. Just kind of ripping the opponent's hand to shreds here. Wizard's Retort. That's fine. We'll hold our negate for other things. Is there something we want to reanimate? No. So, plus?
Servitude. Think of it as partnership.
And everybody get into the red zone. We are one turn off of lethal. They have 5 cards, so they're not flipping their search this turn. Good. First turn in several that we haven't gotten to draw a card with Siphoner. And let's go to combat here. We should have the game. I don't think that they can settle the wreckage and stop us from just countering it. Not with the amount of lands they have. Nope, sorry. And good game, opponent. Alright, so here again is the deck list. Only 4 matches this time, but with time being as it is, I don't think we really could have put any more in. We're already over an hour and a half, and I don't want to tax people's patience too much. As always, there will be a link to the deck list in the description if you'd like to check that out for yourself. In the meantime, we'll just tread some water until rotation comes, which I'm super looking forward to. Getting into Guilds of Ravnica Standard and away with the Stell metagame should be a lot of fun. So, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, let me know in the comments, and by leaving a like below, it really does help tremendously. And of course, subscribe if you'd like to see more in the future. I have been Tevaron, and until next time, friends, be excellent to each other.